right.
Welcome to Assholes with Opinions. I'm one of your hosts, Marcus Merker. My co-host, Dylan Weber.
Big Dubbz.
And Sab Powers.
Yo!
We've got a special guest for this episode.
Yes.
Mr. Jon
Yes.
Stewart. Introduce yourself. Throw
Nice
your
to meet
tag.
you, everyone. I'm Jon Stewart. That's
it.
me. That's it, bud.
Welcome to the Assholes with Opinion podcast, where we chop it up and talk a bunch of shit. We have guests on only if they got something they want to talk about, and I know you've got a couple topics you want to talk about, so we're definitely going to cover one today, and That topic is going to be male suicide.
Yes, sir.
Oh, dropping the
A
bomb
heavy
on
topic.
this one.
That's a
The
big
Yeah.
one.
what do they call it? The not the kibosh, the thing you can't talk about, the taboo.
Yeah.
We're conditioned to be like, oh, you're not allowed to have feelings, be stronger, you're a man, nothing really wrong in your life, you have a penis, you live the best lives.
Yep.
Yeah, it's,
So you have the stats pulled up. What's the difference between male and female suicide? Is it really that big?
Yeah, actually, there is quite a big difference. So in Canada, I think it was 2017, there was a total of 3,890 suicides. 2,989 of those were male.
Wait.
Wow.
There's 3,000 how many? 3,000 what?
I'm adding the numbers together, so it's 3,890, and
So-
2,989 of those were males.
so
901 were females.
That's 75% of the deaths were,
definitely.
3/4. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's quite
Out of
Well, more like 2/3, I think, right?
Yeah, 2/3, but yeah.
It's
two,
66.
closer to 2/3. Yeah, something like that. Either way, it's a massive amount, and no one's talking about it. No one's talking about it.
And during this COVID times, the suicide rate has actually risen quite a bit. And to do with the
Yes, it
unemployment
has.
rate, right? Every percent it goes up, it's 30,000 people, right?
Yep. And socioeconomic status is the number one. Well, some experts speculate that socioeconomic status is the number one cause of male suicide. And the biggest effect of COVID is socioeconomic status. No one's working, no one's making money, everyone's going further into debt, everyone's getting behind on rent, right? Like I myself am 3 months behind on rent now, right? Because I wasn't able to sign up for CERB because I own a small business painting and none of that income was, proper last year. So
Right. So technically you haven't been working, so you didn't.
yeah.
No, it's
It's all freelance stuff, right? So even if I was claiming that income, it's not a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but because I wasn't able to get on CERB, I'm 3 months behind in rent, and that stress is getting pretty heavy. You know what I mean?
And you're not the only one out there, man. I see a bunch of people talking about it all day. You scroll down your Facebook and people are just like, I need to get back to work. I can't live off this. It's hard, especially for people who were already struggling, and now to set them that much farther. If they're already in the hole contemplating, what we're talking about here, fucking being like, hey, this is a lot easier. Well, this little push is going to make it seem way more easy.
And one little thing I wanted to say, this is completely anecdotal evidence. So, but personally, every guy that I know that I'm close with, that I have a personal relationship that I call a friend, wants to commit suicide or has considered it heavily, right? And I know multiple people who have committed suicide. I know people who are gone now, like my uncle, an old friend of mine who's gone. I'm sure you guys know people who've at least attempted to take their life.
This is extensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've tried to commit suicide multiple times. The first time I did it, I was 10 years old. 10 years old.
Oh,
I tried to hang myself from the top bunk of my bed. What kind of society? Yeah. What kind of society breeds that shit? You know what I mean? And not to mention just me, I have a 10-year-old brother, And talking to my older brother, like, because, you know, we talk about our little brother a lot, obviously, as older brothers who give a shit. Apparently, he's been even thinking about it, right? Like, and I mean, he's got a hard time because we lost our dad when he was only 5 years old, right? So he's got a hard time of it all around. But still, the fact that a 10-year-old can consider suicide, like, that's crazy, man. Like, there's something wrong going on. And the fact that nobody is talking about it, nobody, right? Like, there's been a couple TED Talks I've seen about it. But another funny thing about that is it's only women talking about it. Why are only women talking about male suicide?
When they're
right?
Literally a quarter almost of the
third
demographic taking their lives, which means that we're just better at it than them. So if they want us to take them seriously, they need to start taking their lives in greater numbers. They truly want to be equal.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want equal rights, you got to have equal deaths.
Right, exactly. You know, I have another question. Do you think that suicide bombers are in that statistic?
I don't think so, no. Most of the statistics I'm looking at are strictly Canada.
Bombers in Canada.
Yeah. I'm looking at Canadian statistics.
Are we just doing Canadian statistics?
Doing Canadian?
Well, that's mostly what is getting pulled up, right? Because
but I think with the population of Canada, it's
kamikaze pilots are out of the question too, right?
Yeah, kamikaze pilots are out of the question.
Well, we have 38 million people in Canada, right? 38 or maybe it's almost 40 million now, the total population here. If you were to think about men, and we're talking about men, right? Or like, is it just the male population? Like, is it male suicide or suicide in men? Because I think, like, I've had personally, like, one of my best friends lost a friend a couple years ago on Christmas Day. I just think it's like it's hard for people to feel like they're alone. And I think as a man, we're conditioned to believe that we got to be strong. We can't feel those emotions, like he was saying earlier.
Yeah.
It's part of society for us to feel that way, and the pressure that's on men, I think, and compared. And I'm not making it a men versus women argument. I'm just saying the pressure on men, especially today, because there's so many modern relationships where the male and the female are both bringing in close to the same amount of income. So there's in some
there's actually a small point I want to make on that, if you don't mind me interrupting you.
No, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
In our generation, women are actually making more money than men, right? Like, not to bring up the gender wage gap, because that's a massive debate, right? And the way never mind. We're not going to get into that. That's a massive debate.
Yeah. But
when you look at the gender wage gap and how they use statistics, in our generation, it's the women who are making more money, and they have a higher education, right? Like, there's way more women in our generation with college and university degrees than there are with men, right?
Absolutely.
So, and that is the reason in why they are making more money, because they have a higher education. They're working longer hours, right? Like, the importance of being an at-home mother is completely gone, right? And we're not going to get into that debate, right? Like, the thing is, one of the things I was worried about, because when it comes to male suicide, there's so many things that are tied to it and so many other topics we can get to. So if I start digressing like I am right now, you guys need to tell me to shut the fuck up for a second and get back on topic.
So I'll keep going on my point. Basically, what I'm saying is, like, the pressure on men, I think, in society, like you were saying, it's in a lot of ways about social economic status, right? So because of that, like you said, women are making a lot of money these days, a lot. And women are providing just as much as men in most relationships. And a lot of these relationships are 50-50. But I still feel like there is a little bit of that, even though women are making a lot of their own money and they're very independent on all these things compared to 50 years ago. Like, I think there's the pressure still on men to, again, like, propose, like, in your situation, like, you had a progressive relationship. So, she proposed to you, right? And that's amazing, right? And that's awesome, right? But I feel like the fact that she can take that pressure off you, and there isn't people judging the fact that you didn't ask her. Did she buy him a ring, though?
Did she buy you a ring or what?
There you go. How much was the ring? 3 months salary minimum?
Right? Yeah, yo, if it wasn't 3 months salary, man, then she's not meeting up to par.
3 months salary minimum.
Yo, she bought me a cock ring.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
I'll
go.
take that every day of the week. No, we're okay. We're gonna leave this one on that one. We'll let you have it.
Part of the statistic, you want to see this ring, like fuck this shit.
But I think when you have these progressive relationships, I think it helps when people. It helps release some of that pressure when women are a lot more understanding in some of these relationships, and I feel like women are doing. I think in some cases, a good percentage of women are doing a good job helping alleviate that stress and pressure off men. And I think they deserve credit for that a lot.
Absolutely. And one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was basically just what you were talking about, the societal pressures on men. To be the head of the home, the protector, the breadwinner, right? A lot of these things we need to continue to be, right? Like we can't give up being emotionally strong. We can't give up being physically strong because biologically that's how we are, right? And if we aren't going to do it, we can't ask the women to step up and do that, right? That's not a good world. We don't want that world, okay? We don't, okay? But men need to continue to be strong.
Absolutely.
But like you said, in the pressure of having to propose, that is something that is a pressure that can be alleviated on men, right? Or the pressure of having to pay for every date, or the pressure of being the breadwinner, because obviously that's changing, right?
That's absolutely changing. Right?
Yeah, another big thing is a lot of young men feel lost. We feel lost in society. We've lost our place. And it's not that that's a bad thing or how we lost it was a bad thing, because women's roles are expanding. And that is not only good for society, it's good for the economy, right? Because the more people going to work, the stronger the economy. End of story, right? So we want women to have equal rights. We want women to have access to the same things that men have and the same opportunities, right? That men have, because that makes a better world. But in that, men are losing their sense of a role in society, and we don't know who we are anymore, right? We can't be the strong masculine men because that's toxic, right? We can't do this because that's wrong, and we can't do that because that's wrong. Oh, you're acting like a pig, or you're being a caveman. It's like, no, I'm being a boy. And like the Gillette commercial, everyone knows what I'm talking about with that one. Boys will be boys, boys will be. What's wrong with that? Because it's true, boys will be boys. Why is it that boyish behavior is treated so badly and girls' behavior is treated like the gold standard? Right? I think it was Christina Hofsummers. She used to be a big feminist, and feminists loved her until she started talking about men's rights and men's rights activism and all of that. Then now she's a terrible witch and a crone. But she said boys or girls are held up as the gold standard in schools, and boys are treated as defective girls. Right? How many of you have felt like that in school? Right? You're just being a boy. You're rambunctious and you're energetic and you're trying to work it out, right? You don't understand why you're doing it. You're fucking 10, 12 years old. You don't understand why you're doing it, but you are that way and you're having a hard time controlling it. But you're berated for it. And you're told, look at the girls. Look at how they're acting. They're so pleasant and so nice and so quiet and they're so good at paying attention. Well, the girls don't have the same brain that I have. They don't have the same hormones running through their body that I have. I can't sit down for 8 hours a day and do nothing. I need to go run and fight and hunt and kill something because that's what I evolved to do. You're fighting against a millennia of evolution by forcing me to sit in a classroom and learn.
Yeah, it's basically genetic muscle memory just sitting in your fucking bones, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
When an indoor cat likes a bird outside or a squirrel,
it makes that noise.
It knows that it wants to hunt it. It wants to kill it. Why? Because everything in its bloodline up until that, it's in its fucking DNA. That's why when animals are born and they're carnivores, they know to hunt. Like almost immediately they're hunting things.
I don't know. I don't really feel the need to do any of that stuff. And it's like we
I
didn't
think like it's all
evolve to use
situational
computers and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Well, like so, Sab. Like I guess on that point, for me personally, I don't feel the need to go out and hunt and stuff. I grew up, but I was gonna say I grew up in Tennessee, so hunting was part of my young life. When I moved to Canada, I basically like was a city kid, like just I just like ran around, played at playgrounds and whatever else. I lost all of the hunting. I didn't go hunting. I didn't shoot guns. I didn't even fish all that much until I turned like 17, 18. I started fishing with my friends just for fun. right? And then so I think like for me again, like it's the pressure of like, oh, I got to be a man, I got to be able to change a tire, I got to be able to do all these things, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I want to go up north. I gotta go on a man trip. I gotta go boating. I gotta go fishing. And then I went up north.
Something that solidifies.
And then so I did this just because I thought like it would help me feel more of like a man, because I'm like, oh, I'm working in a kitchen. I don't really like do a construction job. I don't do any of these things. Like I don't feel like, to most women, although I work in probably one of the most male predominant fields in the entire world in the kitchen industry. So I think a lot of women view men that work in kitchens even as like, it's, you know, you're here. Even a guy that works construction and makes less money than a chef is still viewed a little higher because he drives a truck instead of the Honda Civic, or, you know what I mean? Like it's those ideas, I think, that are like killing men. And then I went up north, for example, and all of a sudden I'm like, I fucking love being up here. And that woke up within me. Now I have to go up there. I have to go up there to get that solace, like that moment of like personality, like something that's within me that, and maybe it's not the same for you, Sab. Maybe if you don't go up north, you don't feel the same. And I get that. Right. And I think men of all people have evolved to computers, whatever else. But like for me, it was like that activated something. And now even to this day, and like I'll be honest with you, like 2 years ago I was struggling with a drug habit, and I can tell you right now I'm one of those people that struggled. Like I worked right next to the falls. If I couldn't tell you that I considered literally walking out front, lighting a cigarette, and jumping over the falls 100 fucking times after work, then I'd be lying to you. I would. I'm gonna be honest. I was in debt to drug dealers. My life was fucked. I was barely lit. You know what I'm saying? I was sleeping on a cot. I was fucked. And I literally was like, I'm going to, I want to do this. And I really strongly considered it many, many days. And that's not a joke. But like through time, like I had friends, like good friend systems, like great people that were like, suck me. So golf is something that like I get to do, like, for example, like that breaks me away. And for those 4 hours, I don't answer my phone. I don't do anything. And I feel like a man. I drink beers with my boys. I talk shit. I do all of these things and I don't give a shit. And that makes me feel just good on the inside. So those moments of solace, I think, are important for men to have. And I think in a society like today, you're told to work 55 hours a week, make $70,000, $80,000 a year doing a construction job, break your fucking back, go to the chiropractor when you're off, mow the lawn when your day off is here. And then you got to go fix you know what I mean? When you have that kind of pressure on you, I think that's where men start breaking. That's where men start really, really breaking, because you can be as strong as you want. But again, you're right. Men have to be strong. And I don't think we should ever give that up. And I think that's just natural. But at the same time, even as an alpha male, you have to be somewhat vulnerable. Even the most alpha of alpha males in all of history, Leonidas.
Are those the guys that are killing themselves, though? I don't think so.
I think that
a lot of alpha males do. All right, just for an example. Well, that's part of the issue. Alpha males are men, right? Alpha males are men, and they definitely are at least considering suicide. I have anecdotal evidence of it. My older brother, he's a fucking alpha male if you've ever met one, right? Like a lot of people think he's an absolute douchebag. You seem quite alpha to me, but yeah. But
I don't mean it like that, but
like my brother Kyle is probably one of the most alpha people I know. He considers suicide on a regular basis, right? Like it's not just a weak man's problem. All right, it's an every man problem.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And you guys keep pushing this like alpha shit. Like we need to be out hunting. We need to be strong and stuff. And is that like,
no,
if anything, there's lots of guys out there that aren't that, and then they're like, you know what I mean? Like that are.
I get what you're saying, Sab. I get what you're saying, Sab.
Most of the demographic of guys, at least from my experience, aren't that alpha type, right? And like those alpha types usually seem to be doing pretty good as far as their mental health and like in life in general a lot of the time. And it's like,
I think that's a lot of that is hidden, Sab, from my perspective.
But like even if we look at like the friends of ours that are like always crying on Facebook or whatever about their mental health and stuff, they're not alphas. And like, why don't they get attention? Whereas if a girl were to do that, she'd have so many people like in her inbox where I see these guys crying about it all the time. And it's like, I've tried to be there for like my friends to do that, but it's like there's only like so many times where it's like it's like I'm there for someone, and like what help am I really doing? And it's just like I don't know what to do. Like it's like if someone just keeps like
when it comes to
wolf,
people,
essentially.
yeah, I get what you're saying. And when it comes to people like that, I find that they're not clinically depressed; they're situationally depressed. Their life is in a shitty position, right? They don't have a good job. They don't have a good girl. They don't have good friends. You know what I mean? It's just not going right for them, and they are crying out for attention. And I don't mean to say that in like, oh, they're just looking for attention. Like, no, like when someone is crying for attention, they're on the edge. You know what I mean? And they're getting closer and closer. Every time they cry out and no one answers, they get closer and closer. And people need to understand this, right? But it's mostly that they are crying for help, right? It's less that they need attention. It's more that they need help, right? Because they don't know what to do, which goes back to, again, we're lost, man. We are absolutely lost. We don't know how to
help
fix
someone
ourselves.
in that situation.
So Sab, from my perspective, last year I was going through that. Like I said, I was getting over a drug habit. I'm sober now. I was getting over a drug habit, but one of my friends literally would he kind of vibed off what was happening, and basically was like, every time I would get off work, he's like, "What are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go home after work." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna come pick you up. Come to my house for the night." And he would literally come to my work every day after work, where, like I just told you, I considered walking off the falls the moment I got off work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so he was like, even those small moments of like, I'll come pick you up after work, and then we'll go to my house, we'll play NHL, or we'll do that. Those moments are what like stop me from like, it's breaking that habit of like, I can keep thinking and manifesting that one day I'm just going to do it. Because like you're so like again, I was situationally sad. Again, I fucked my life up doing drugs. It was my problem, right? I knew it was my problem. And when I got to a point that it was my issue and I realized it was my issue, I started shouldering that on my own. And when I started shouldering that on my own, that's when I got to the deepest and depth. Like that's when it was the hardest, because I shut everyone off. I didn't want anybody to help me.
Yeah.
But then when I got to a point where I was like, okay, I actually need help. And like you said, you get to a point where when you actually are crying out for help, you are very close to that point. And I can tell you that I was very close. And Sab, I'll be honest with you, there was points when I was a drug addict where there'd be days, and I have people like that can attest to this. I would do drugs and I would do lines that are the size of fucking double-sided pencils. Like, I'm not joking, like carpenter's pencil size lines. And I was trying. Yes, I was doing a whole bunch of coke, and I was doing lines the size of carpenter's pencils, trying just maybe to overdose one day, because I wanted the easier way out. I didn't want to have to actually kill myself, but I knew that if I overdosed, that it would get, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's how it got. And then when I stopped doing drugs, that's when it was like, it got really easy. I had support. From people, even if it was the smallest amount of, hey man, how you doing today? That small message. If I don't get any messages all day, then like that's when you start going in your own head. If someone asks me like, "Let me pick you up," like, then we're good.
To bring it back to what you were saying, Sab, about like how you were saying like with the alpha male thing, it's not so much that we need to go out into nature and hunt and do all these alpha male things. You need a release, right? If your release is playing fucking League of Legends at the end of the day and crushing some fucking noobs, and that's what makes you happy, then fuck yeah, bud. That's what makes you happy. If that's what makes you feel like a champ, then that's what you do, right? But if fucking taking a bow and an arrow and killing a fucking deer and then eating the meat over an open fire, if that's what makes you feel like a fucking champion, then that's what you got to do, right? It doesn't matter
if you play Magic for fun. It's like you say, like if you play Magic for fun, bro, like if that's your release, if somebody can stop bothering you, so you can go play Call of Duty, Magic, any video games. I love playing video games myself, and I have a girl in my life who hates video games, and she'll say sometimes, she's like, "Oh, well, can you not play?" And I'm like, well, like I really want to play with the boys. Let me play. So she'll fuck off for 2 hours. I'll play with the boys, and then she gets my time after that. But because I've had that release, I feel that pressure release. Like you were saying, I feel like, oh, I got to do my thing. I'm not so pressured to have to go and do what she's asking me to do. Whether that's, oh, let's go chill in the parkway, or let's go do this, or can you go pick up this? Like even just those small questions, just like being able to actually just do what you want to do. And I think
everyone
like,
probably needs that, not just men, though, right?
No, you're right. It
right.
isn't just right, but it isn't just men. But we're focusing on men today.
That's
right?
what
we're trying to
I
figure
mean.
out how to help men.
So like, for me, like I think like maybe like the incel situation is like causing a lot of guys to be sad and shit. Cause like I feel like
I sympathize with the incels, man. I feel so bad for them. I really do. Like, they need some help, bro. Those guys need some help. And it's not that they're wrong or they're hateful or they're evil fucking people or anything like that. But they just need some help, man. And you know what it is? They got dealt a shitty fucking hand, and
that actually really well for me.
Right. I don't mean like the incel group or whatever. I mean like the involuntary like celibate people or whatever.
Yeah, the people who need to actually.
Like I'm sure like all of us here have friends that are just like that. Like, and I feel like that a lot of times in a way. You know what I mean? It's like when I'm single or whatever, it's like going on like Tinder or whatever. You can like swipe right all day, thousands of times. Any guy I feel like can.
Yeah.
You get barely any matches where a girl gets like thousands of matches. And like, why is it like that? Why is there so many desperate guys and like no desperate females? It seems, if there's half guys, half girls. Is there like it's like a couple?
I have
guys
a biological answer for
all
you.
the chicks. Like some of the alpha males are just like they have like 6 girlfriends. Like, you know what I mean?
I have a biological answer for you.
I have a feeling I know where this is going.
Women evolved to be the gatekeepers of the next generation, if you know what I mean, right? So their proclivity to have sexual preference and a tight sexual preference, that's not just societal. There is definitely societal pressure among that, but then we can get into the talk of what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? But women have a biological obligation to only have sex with the best of the best, right? Because that's how the next generation is better, right? And a lot of what is considered, like how women consider what is the best, is societal and it's cultural, right? Because if you look at how people evolved in Africa versus how people evolved in Asia versus how people evolved in Europe and different places, there were different criteria for what determined you to be a good mate, right? So there are a lot of men in our society who are not determined as good mates by culture. And that's not necessarily their fault. It's not women's fault.
Right.
It's the fucking roll of the dice. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, but like with society, right? It's supposed to be monogamous, right? And that's how most people treat it. So one guy, one girl.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is like that, then where's all like the leftover girls? You know what I mean? Why is there so many desperate guys? Are they just hanging out being single, or like?
No, I think
there are also a lot of single women. There are also a lot of single women out there too, right?
I think it's another biological answer again. Yeah, it's women.
They're just like women are more okay with being single, and guys like cry about it more.
Yeah. Well, no, because it's the pressure. Women can be single, and you're a strong, independent woman now. If a man's single, it's why are you single? Is always the question.
And as a kid, like growing up, right, there's always pressure. Just
bring home a girlfriend.
Getting married. Oh, can't wait till you grow up and get married and have children, and like you're putting all.
I'm sure girls probably get that even more than guys.
I think it's a lot less. I think if I had a daughter, and I'm just speaking for me, if I had a daughter compared to a son, I'd be way more inclined for my son to bring home a girlfriend at 14 years old than I would my daughter bringing home a boyfriend at 14 years old. Do you know what I'm saying?
That also introduces another societal razor in if I'm going to bring a boy home as a girl, if I'm going to bring a boy home, he had better be fucking impressive.
He better be my fucking boyfriend. Like he better come into my house. He better be the fucking like. I swear to God, if he like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna kill him if he hurts you. Like, and that's how like that's why I'm like, if it's for me, I know that my son's gonna be a dumbass. So I again, this is a horrible thing, Sab. You're gonna fucking hate me for this one. Here it goes. Here's the clip. Clip it. What time is it? Here's my moment. Boys, I'm okay with them running around and do what they do because again, boys will be boys. But again, with my girl, if I had a daughter, I want my daughter to grow up and be with the perfect guy. And I want that to be a guy who's a little older, smarter, and figured it out. I don't want a 14-year-old kid who's dumbass. And again,
right. Okay, let me go back.
One of these 4 guys that's in this fucking group right now was a dumbass at 14. Don't tell me you were not. Okay.
Amen.
We all were. Just
Yeah.
Why is like the
raised
boys
by
will
the
be
thought of
boys
getting
thing
pussy.
okay? That's always like associated with something negative. It's not like, oh shit, he got an A
That's
plus
the
on this
problem.
math test, boys will be boys. You know what I mean? It's like, oh fuck, you just took a shit in the sink. Boys will be boys. You know what I mean? It's like,
Boys will be boys, man.
And you guys are like, yeah, boys will be boys, thinking that's like so good. No, it's like whenever people say that, it's when some fucking piece of shit did some asshole-ish thing that some girl would never do. You know what I mean?
Well, statistically or generally, when that term is used, it's used to talk about boys fighting, right? Like normally, right? I've never heard someone say, "Oh, boys will be boys," because some kid took a shit in the sink. And no, fighting isn't bad, right? Some of my best friends are people I fought, and that's something I wanted to get into earlier when we were talking about.
Good people can do bad things. Just because your best friends have been people you fought doesn't mean that fighting is therefore good. You know what I mean? Some of my best friends have fucking smoked crack, probably.
That's not what I was getting at. What I was getting at is the fact that I fought them led to us being such close friends, right? And that might be because men don't have physical releases
in
our
your life,
for
bro. I got like punched in the mouth, just one punch. Whoever was there, I think, in lunch, Jesse punched me in the mouth, split open my face, fucking like this tooth. Every time I drink cold water, it hurts, right? And it's like that, like for years afterwards, it fucked me up, dude. Like I lost all my friends, like fucking just became a loner. I got into poker after that and shit. And fucking like I was super depressed and shit, and still like that like led on like a downward spiral in my life. Cause like before that I was like confident, cocky, and then like I realized like shit, you can say one wrong thing and get punched in the face. And like ever since, I fucking like around those alpha males, I'm like scared to hang out with them because you say one wrong thing and they just might pop you and your fucking whole shit is ruined. You know what I mean? Like fighting isn't good when like one punch can like literally kill people. Like you know what I mean? It's like.
Okay,
it's like that's not our genes or whatever.
That's not a fight, though. Someone walking up to you and punching you in the fucking mouth, that's not a fight, right?
But it's like
a fight is two people standing face to face, and saying "fuck you, you're a piece of shit." No, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, and then they start swinging. That's a fight. What happened to you was an assault. There's a difference, man.
Brother.
That's assault.
Someone always throws like the first punch in a fight, and like I would have probably fought back, but like my mouth was like gushing blood. Like I remember like holding my hands out, and they like just filled up with like a pool full of blood.
Sucker punched?
Yeah, like I didn't know it was coming.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that's being a piece of shit. Sucker punching someone in the face. That's not manly. That's weak, right? Bro. Buddy was too afraid to stand
let's
face
say it
to
was
face
a
with you
fight.
and give you a chance.
Hold on. Sab's whole point was that could have easily happened in a fight, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair.
That punch could have been thrown in a fight, and the same exact result could have happened.
And I've landed punches like that in fights, where I've shattered the fuck out of people's noses.
There's lots of things that I'm sure like you could say we've evolved to do. Like you could almost say like rape is like people have evolved to rape. You could like but that doesn't make rape okay. You know what I mean? It's still a fucking horrible thing.
Humanly, we've been doing it from like the beginning of time. Not that
that doesn't make it any less fucked up, though. Is my point, right?
It's super fucked up.
Yeah,
it's extremely fucked up. But
it's super fucked up.
And what I was saying in that fighting is good. I didn't mean fucking brutalizing someone else, right? A civilized fight, right? Like. I don't know about you, Sab, right? I don't know, right? But I've been in plenty of civilized fights that not only taught me lessons, right? Like I've lost fights. I've had the shit kicked out of me before, right? Like I've got a scar under my eye from a fight from when I was like 15 or 16, right? But it's an experience, man, and you learn a lot from it. Not only do you learn about yourself, you learn your own capabilities, right? Like what you're capable of, but you learn what you're not capable of. And like you said, you learn that one wrong word can get you popped in the fucking mouth, right? So it teaches you humility, which is something that men need. Like you said before, beforehand, you were a cocky little bastard. Nobody likes a cocky little bastard, right? And it's not good to be a cocky little bastard. Did you like yourself when you were a cocky little bastard? I've been a cocky little bastard. I didn't like myself.
A lot better back then. And no, I think like that if I kept behaving that way, my life would have been better. I was just scared. Like it sucks.
How would it
that
have
I was
been better
scared
if you were a douchebag? You wouldn't have.
I wasn't
half the friends
necessarily
you
a douchebag. I didn't get punched in the mouth because I was like being an asshole. I got punched in the mouth because I was standing up for myself, right? Whereas like because it's like, yeah, maybe I should learn to fight and so that I can like not be afraid to get popped in the mouth. Be like, you know what I mean? It's like fucking. It just sucks that like fucking bigger guys or whatever get to act like that, and then as like a smaller dude, you kind of just have to take their shit and deal with their shit. And like before, I just didn't, and I was just like, I didn't know that like I was like, and like I didn't realize you could like just pop someone in the mouth and like have no repercussions from it. You know what I mean? And basically nothing happened. Like he got like a fucking 2-month from vacation from school. That's about it. It's like I had to go. I was so pissed. I had to go back to school, and he fucking got school off. You know what I mean? And like we both ended up with the fucking same grade at the end of the year. Like he didn't fail one class. Dude.
So Sab, for example, like if we were friends in high school, okay, and I would have watched you get punched in the face, and I was around you, I'm gonna tell you right now that kid would have got stomped the fuck out. And I'll tell you exactly why, Sab, because you sat in this very room while I got a call from my little brother because he got punched in the face by his bigger roommate. And what did I do? I drove to the house immediately. I walked in his front door. I looked him in the face. I grabbed him by the throat, and I beat the fuck out of him in his living room. You know why? Because he hit my little brother.
I know. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
So, so listen. So sometimes, like you said, being, and I don't, again, I am an alpha male. I'll fucking admit it. I'm a Leo. I'm born in August. It is what it is. When it comes to
now, you sound like a female. You don't sound alpha at all. Talking about fucking being a Leo. I never heard no dude talking about fucking that shit.
I don't know. We're talking about male suicide.
Yeah, we're going here.
Just saying.
We're coming full circle here. Don't worry.
All right. Well, I got a stat here that I was gonna bring up.
Basically, I would have stuck up for you, and like I think that men need to have more people that are willing to do that.
I agree.
We need
I agree.
more
you guys encourage fighting though is a
no
good
because
thing.
I encourage civilized fighting. Civilized fighting, right?
I watch the UFC.
Like okay, Marcus, if you and me got in a fucking boxing ring and we slugged it out, afterwards we'd be far better friends than we are now.
Yeah,
you agree?
That'd be hilarious.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
No, and it's the same for you. Sab, it's the same for you. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, bro. If we got in a boxing ring and you beat the shit out of me, I do not think we would be better friends.
Well, I wouldn't beat the shit out of you, right?
No,
like,
all right. Say we play each other in
I want to
Magic,
fight
and
somebody at least in my weight class.
How you gonna feel? You're gonna respect me.
No, you'll be like GG and sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fucking pissed. Text me in the morning. Yeah, I was fucking bullshit last night. You got lucky.
So, but yeah,
to bring us around full circle here. So we were just saying what we need is support systems. And as I look over at this quote I was going to read, the sentence before that says is, one thing is a strong support system. There's evidence that men who adhere more strongly to masculine ideas see getting psychological help more negatively. That can result in their feelings building up without an escape valve, either a personal one through talking with friends or family, or a professional one, therapy or other mental health services. It can escalate to a crisis point. Studies show that in the years before that, before they killed themselves, only 35% of men saw mental health practitioners, while 58% of women did.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about.
Wow.
back in the 50s, not to say that the 50s was better than now because there was fucking way more societal problems than we have now. But
racism, let's not get into it.
back in the 50s, men had a lot more places that we could go to let off steam and be men around other men, right? Like lodges, right? And you see it with older men even still today. A bunch of old men will sit in a fucking sauna together, butt-ass naked, right? And it's totally fine. Do we do that in our generation? Do we sit naked in front of each other in a fucking sauna? No, we'd all be sitting there all weird, like, oh my God, is anyone looking at my penis? Is fucking Marcus bigger than mine? What the fuck is wrong with us, dude? We're so self-conscious. We are so weak. Like, what made us so weak?
The
right?
mainstream media, bro, and giving us things to attain that are unattainable.
What's the thing you said? The weak men, strong men thing.
Oh, I said.
I know exactly what you're gonna say, and I love that quote.
Oh, strong men breed weak men that breed strong men that breed.
Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times create strong men. Yeah. So
it's like where we're at right now because a bunch of people are just out here complaining about.
I think we're weak men right now.
Yeah, we're
a generation of weak men.
We are a generation. We are a generation of weak men, and things are getting hard quickly. Yeah. So, but the thing is, we are. Not only are we a weak generation, we are an extremely self-aware generation of men. Right? We see this in ourselves. We see not only the emotional issues that we have, but we see that we have them. Right? Like, for millennia, men have always known that we're angry, but we didn't know that that was an issue. We didn't realize, like, oh, fuck, that's something I got to deal with, right? We are so much smarter than we used to be. We can figure out a solution. We can turn it around, man. Because we're in a hard time right now because we are weak men. Because we are weak men, we have created a hard time, and we are living through the hard time we created. Let us use this hard time to create ourselves into strong men. Okay? Let's be strong. And let's be strong in the best ways possible, because there was a lot of bad shit that came with being a strong man decades ago. So let's...
Here's an interesting statistic, too. Even though we do have a larger suicide statistic, women actually attempt it more.
That is true, but
so they do suck at it.
So some experts speculate that the reason that it's less men who attempt suicide, but there's more men dying from suicide, is because we are more suicidal in the first place.
Yeah, it says one of two things. One is that men we use more lethal means to attempt suicide, where like they don't.
Which is an indicator that we're more serious about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, it could be other factors too, like guys don't mind fucking up their face.
Like Marcus said earlier.
A woman would do it through the chest or something.
Exactly what Marcus said earlier. And Marcus is a man, and Marcus is an alpha male. Okay? He tried to kill himself with drugs.
No one else called him that.
Hold on. Okay. By his own claim. Whatever. Fucking dick.
You, Sab. You had to do it.
But anyways.
Once. Please do it again.
But anyways, he said that he tried to kill himself through drugs because he wanted to take the easy way out. He didn't want to actually kill himself, right? He wasn't at that point where he's extremely suicidal and he's sure that he's done. Because when you're sure you're fucking done, you take a gun, you put it to your dome, and you say, night-night, boom, and you're gone, right? You don't pop a fucking...
Can get their hands on a gun, but...
Everyone can get their hands on a rope.
True.
Everyone can jump off a bridge.
A rope doesn't always work either, though. Like I know a guy that tried to hang himself with a rope and he survived. And and this is what my fear always is of killing myself. Is like, what if you try to kill yourself and you fail and your life is just way worse after that? Which is what happened to this guy, right? His brain got all fucked up from loss of oxygen.
That is a thing too, right? And that actually may be a factor in why. More women survive suicide, right? Because women are more analytical like that. They think about things deeper than men like that, right? So they're gonna have more doubt, right? So they're gonna do it in a way that isn't going to fuck them up for life, right?
You lost me when you said women are more analytical than men.
They are in a lot of ways, They are in a lot of things.
I think in all ways. I think men are dumbasses. I think most men.
Oh my God.
When I say men are dumbasses,
Podcast
I think most
with a bunch of cucks.
Yeah, I think most men are
I'm the
just
only
like,
alpha here.
You fucking wish, bud. You're wearing a blanket like an old ass woman. You're talking about crazy.
Yeah, because I'm comfortable.
The name of the
myself.
show. I'm the only alpha male here.
Only alphas can pull off a blanket, bro.
Chamomile tea.
Only alphas wear pink.
Yeah.
Look at this samurai, dog.
Why is there only alphas and betas? What's after that? Like, why is this?
They're fucking omegas, but I think that's like beta plus.
Yeah,
There is
Omega
supposed to be
sounds dope,
something.
though.
There is supposed to be something that's in between the alpha and betas, right? Like, but that's a deeper debate, and in reality, it's not so simple, right? Like it's I hate to use this term because the left uses it all the time for so many different things, but it's a spectrum, right? There's a spectrum of masculinity, okay,
Yeah,
and
obviously, yeah.
to give
Everything
the devil
is
his
liquid.
due.
It's a quantum
Yeah.
soup, right?
Yeah,
It's
to give the devil his due, when the left talks about transgenderism and they talk about the gender spectrum, they are kind of right on that, right? There are levels of masculinity and femininity. There are men who are more feminine than they are masculine, and there are men who are more masculine than they are feminine, and it's the same thing with women,
right.
But
That's a savage side right there.
yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're less of a man, right? You don't have the same hormones, right? But we're fucking humans, man. We're complicated. Why does that have to mean anything? You're still a fucking man. You still have fists, right? You still have a body that was evolved to take damage and repair itself. Okay?
I think we as men also need to do a better job of protecting each other. Straight
That's
up.
true
Like,
too.
we
In all
don't-
ways, we need to protect each other more.
I don't think men like to pick up on, again, cries out for help. I don't think when I say we don't like to, I mean like it's just, you know what I mean? Like if somebody's dealing with something, you let them deal with it.
What are you
And
supposed to do, like in that situation?
I
Like, I don't
think
even
just be
know
a
how to
support.
handle it.
You don't have to literally hold somebody.
Take them out for a good time, right?
to
Like
pull
that,
them
like
out.
taking someone out for a good time, or like what Marcus was saying earlier.
Yeah,
his
but
buddy
what
came
if
and
they
picked them up
suck
after
so much,
work.
then I want to kill myself, you know?
Well,
Well, then
I
at
guess-
least he's not doing it alone, right? Like, at least he's not dying alone. That's the best he can ask for in that
Well, you know
situation,
what'll
right?
happen, and I'm guessing there's definitely a statistic for this, but I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm assuming that if two suicidal people get together, the chances are they don't commit suicide. Because
You know, you
suicide
want to
is
know
one
what?
of
I
those
would actually
loner
like.
things.
I would like to look into that because that's probably true. And a lot of the times when it comes
don't know.
when it comes to
You've
suicide,
created a
it's a
base.
momentary thing.
No,
You
I
have
don't think
something
so,
relatable.
no.
You think we'll just do like? What if they just get a party together and like Jim Jones them? It's like fuck it. Kool-Aid.
Well, then you're a cult. Then you're a
there's a
suicidal
bunch of-
cult.
There's a bunch of people who feel the same way.
I've
but
been
even
like
then, I
super
think-
like depressed a lot in my life and shit, and like I've thought about it a lot, and I think a lot of it is kind of like what you were saying earlier, where it's like situational. You know,
Yeah.
I've had shitty friends, I'm around shitty people, so if I hung around other people that were just like, oh, life sucks, life is shit all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I think my like life would be shittier. You know what I mean? Like,
And you
want to
know what?
hang around with other people. I want to hang around with people that tell me why life is good and they're happy. You know what I mean? So don't.
And-
And I actually like hanging out with you. Like,
So
I'm
I have a friend who I wouldn't necessarily say he's depressed or he's a negative person, but he's got a very dark outlook on life. You could say like he's hard to explain, but I love hanging out with him and getting drunk with him so I can cry. Right?
oh shit. Eh?
He's the only dude I know that I can cry like a bitch around.
Damn.
Right? And I need him.
Mhm.
Like I recognized years ago that he is someone I need in my life because without him I don't have anyone I can cry around, right? And men need that. You need someone that you can just fucking cry around. So it's not just about having positive friends. You definitely need to surround yourself most of the time with positivity, right? Because you got to have a positive outlook, right? That's like 90% of what life is having a positive outlook, because really it is super shitty. Life is super fucking shitty, and that's just the nature of it. But it's way better to be a human than to be anything fucking else. Okay?
Yeah,
way
I say that
better.
all the time, man. I
Yeah.
think about that all the time. Like, if reincarnation is real, that's one reason right there to not kill yourself. Just having the freedom to be bored is so amazing.
Right? You almost sounded like you were about to cry there for a second. Having the freedom to be bored is so amazing.
No, I had like a fucking burp and shit.
Yeah, I noticed afterwards, but it sounded like you were about to
What's
fucking...
your thing about like being an ant? Like the chances of us being an ant were like incredibly high.
Yeah, and dude,
It
this
bothers the
is
fuck
the
out of me.
life as an ant.
I
okay?
haven't stopped thinking about that, Sab, since the day that Weber told me that you said
That's
that. and it pisses
amazing.
me the fuck off.
Yeah.
But listen,
It's true though. There's like fucking like
this is
countless
the
of
life.
them
you
compared
being
to how
an
many
ant
of
were
us.
so exponentially high.
This is what you do as
ridiculous
an
for
ant.
human.
You work your whole life until you're old, and this is how you get your food. Old people puke it into your mouth, and then when you become an old person, or an old ant, I guess, then they send you out into the world, and you go get food, and you come and puke it back into fucking kids' mouths. How fucked up would that be? Like, that's how
Yep.
they evolved.
Yep.
As
We
in,
are
like,
so lucky.
and we
we're
could
human.
have evolved into like a similar faction, you know what I mean? It like
Yep.
we're so
We
lucky to
absolutely could
just
have.
like have like all this shit that we have, you know what I mean? And like
I think that'd be cool.
I'm
being a
sad
bird or
about like
something.
the way shit is all the time,
Like
but
an
I'm
eagle
also super happy
or a
and super
shark.
thankful. And you can it's kind of weird, like you can just like almost trick yourself into just like looking on the bright side of things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If
So-
you could be one animal, what would it be? Off topic, but we have to do this.
Human.
It's
Boom.
I want to be whatever lives in the deep dark sea.
Fuck you, man. That's so
Ooh,
That's
creepy.
fire.
You're
You
sitting
be
right
one of
next
those
to
fish with the lamp on their fucking
I want
head?
to be.
No,
I want to
one
be
of
some
those
type of
things with
bird,
some tentacles
Probably
that'll
a
bring you
parrot.
into the deep.
like
or a
the
raven.
Kraken.
Yo, I'd like to be a raven because ravens are really clever, man. They're good at
Yeah,
getting
they're
into shit.
huge too.
Yeah,
They're
yo, I
fucking
could
huge.
fuck with a lot of people, man. If I was a raven, I could fuck with a lot of people, and they're smart. So like, you'd be smart enough to understand aiming your shit to hit the people you don't like.
I don't know. Animals are
That's
pretty
how
stupid.
smart you could. Yeah, animals are pretty stupid, but
Do you think dogs are smart?
Yes,
no,
I think.
I don't
so.
think any
The
animal
answer
is
no.
smart.
They're dumb.
No animal is smart.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about intelligence in the animal kingdom, there are some animals who are extremely intelligent compared to others. They're a lot less
Right.
stupid. Let's say that, because you're right. We
Yeah.
shouldn't use the word intelligence to describe animals, because they're all extremely dumb. Some are a lot less dumb than others, though.
But do
I
male
think
animals kill
dolphins
themselves
use
more often
sonar
than
to
female
speak
animals?
to each other? That's
Um,
pretty fucking impressive, if you ask me.
Yeah, man.
Third or fourth smartest thing on this road.
Yeah. Also, bears use more of their brain than we do.
Yeah,
All right,
that-
we're getting real off
That's
topic here.
debatable.
All right, yeah. So the WHO reports.
Maybe
that
they know
suicide-
better.
So the WHO reports that suicide is half of all male violent deaths worldwide.
Wow.
Violent deaths, male violent deaths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suicide
But you
doesn't
gotta think
seem like
about
violent
through
to
your
me.
brain is
And
considered
that's
violent.
worldwide, man. You got to think about how many men die in wars, how many men die at work, right? Because if we're going to get into those statistics, we make up like upwards of 90% in each.
Shit,
like-
I got a question. How
Let,
many
let me pull
people?
that up quick, actually.
How many people do you
Right,
think
and you could
die?
say like how many drug overdoses are actually suicides, how many car accidents are actually suicides.
Yeah.
Like
They
like
say that the suicide rate is highest among middle-aged white men, who account for almost 70% of all suicides in 2017.
And when it comes to employment death, men are 10 times more likely to die than women. 10 times more likely.
Mhm.
So for
And men
every
over
one
the
woman
age
that
of
dies at work,
65,
there's 10. 10 men who die.
men over the age of 65 are at the greatest risk of suicide.
oh, over 65?
An interesting thing that about the suicide rates when it comes to age is men in the age group of like 18 to 25 have been the most fluctuating group, right? Like it goes up and down constantly.
So
right.
what's the I don't mean to bring race into it, but what would be the race demographic in suicide.
Weber just said that it's.
I think I remember looking. Yeah. I think it's more white men, and
Because
don't quote me on this. I think it's white collar. Well, also most of the statistics I've looked at is for Canada and America.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, apparently like Japan, like the tons of people kill themselves in Japan. Apparently.
American Indian and Alaskan Native.
Oh my God.
Whites.
Alaskan Native. Wow.
So Native people, basically.
Asian, Hispanic, and
Black is low.
No, black is right here. Is right in between white and so Hispanic and Asian Pacific Islander is very low.
What's Asian Pacific Islander?
Asian, so obviously Asian, and then the islands around it. I'm guessing
Japan.
Oh, okay. So basically, like, okay, all those. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Philippines and all those places.
And American Indian, Alaska, and Native, I'm guessing, is like the more Northwest Territories and.
Yeah, but natives.
So to answer your question on a more local stance, Marcus, here's a quote here. The rate of suicide is highest in middle-aged white men. In 2018, men died by suicide 3.56 times more often than women. On average, there are 132 suicides per day. White males account for 69.67% of suicide deaths in 2018.
So
more than half are all white men.
Let me ask you guys this. Would you guys like it better if it was the other way around? If girls killed themselves way more?
Yes, I want more women to kill themselves than men.
Fuck no, it's way better like this.
Any society where the death rates switch is a society at its end, right? When women start dying more than men, that society is over. That's your game over sign on the screen. When women start dying more than men, that's your game over sign on the screen.
Why are you guys upset about this? That men are killing themselves more than women? Then
it's not that we're upset about it that they're killing them more.
We're just bringing light.
We're bringing attention to it because no one is talking about it and no one is talking about male suicide. Suicide at all is bad.
Yeah, why differentiate it? And like you just said, if women were doing it more, that's bad.
Well, we're not the only ones differentiating it. Women actually get tons more focus than men do, right? Like there are more programs out there for women who have mental issues.
Sab, when you're like, all these girls can post I'm depressed and they get 1,000 DMs, and then I post I'm depressed and I get one guy that says cheer up, buddy.
Yeah,
that guy's dope though. Shout out to that guy.
Yo, that's me, man. I'm the one who's always commenting on people's fucking things like, oh, I'm so sad and lonely. Bro, come have a fucking cup of tea and shut the fuck up. Like, quit complaining on Facebook, come to my house, sit down, have a cup of tea, and tell me what your problems are. Let's figure this shit out.
Cup of tea, I love it.
Straight the fuck up, man. Yo, a cup of tea is relaxing, man, and it breeds a good environment. It smells nice, tastes good.
Lots of problems can't be solved like that. Like, say you're Kurt Cobain, for example, and you're just in constant pain all the time.
Well, if you're Kurt Cobain, you stop doing heroin and stop talking to
pharmaceutical companies will try to kill you even more. Okay, so but not Kurt Cobain.
If you're Kurt Cobain, you should have never.
Okay, whatever. That was just an example. Okay, you're someone that's in constant pain all the time.
For example, if you're Robin Williams, then
Robin Williams was clinically depressed.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, Robin Williams.
Yeah,
was
so I'm saying
depressed.
In constant pain. Like you're saying, come over, have a cup of tea. I'm saying I want to kill myself because I'm in constant pain all the time. I have a headache that goes all the time. I went to the doctor. They gave me these pills. I took those pills. Now I have this other pain in my arm all the time. The headache is still there. I went back.
That is a deeper problem than one of us can handle, right?
Right.
Like
so how do should those people just kill themselves?
Maybe.
Should they just constantly live with the pain forever?
They should seek better medical attention in the person.
Why is the only focus on suicide's always mental health? It's not always mental health. Sometimes people just have shitty lives, you know what I mean? Why can't we just focus on making people's lives better?
And there are different reasons why people have shitty lives. If your life is shitty because you've always got a migraine,
but your life is dope all the time, would you kill yourself?
Okay, if you are clinically depressed, and your life is dope, you need serotonin.
Then they kill themselves.
There's your answer.
Robin Williams is a prime example of that. He had a great life.
Robin Williams
just because he had
didn't
money.
Robin Williams didn't get the appropriate medication that he needed. And you also have to understand that that's Hollywood. There's a lot of drugs going on there. And there's a lot
and look at all the shit. An episode on pharmaceuticals because I don't trust fucking any of them.
Just to dip into the next topic that I'm going to be doing on the next episode. Look at all of the shit that's going on in Hollywood right now. That's probably why Robin Williams killed himself. Because he couldn't take watching that shit go down anymore.
That seems fucked up, man. Okay, if you want to talk about the pedophiles in Hollywood, there's pedophiles.
That's next time.
Pedophilia is fucked up. It is like the most evil shit. That's why they want like everyone in Hollywood to be pedophiles because it's like, what's like the most evil thing we can make them, right? I don't believe that everybody is fucking
bro, it's not
kids, man. That's so fucked
it's
up.
Definitely going on. Look at Ricky Gervais at the Oscars, bro.
Yeah, he basically called everyone out. He basically pointed to everyone. He's like, you're all a bunch of fucking
foul. We're dipping.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the next episode I'm on. That's supposed to be the topic for the next time I'm in here. We got to get back to male suicide, right?
If Ricky Gervais is calling them out, doesn't he kind of have to be in on it in a sense? Shouldn't he have to?
A lot of them know what's going on.
How do you know about these fucking parties if you're not invited to one or you go to one?
Yeah, I don't want to be part of this.
And why would you make that like
maybe
a
you're right
thing? It just makes no sense to me. It's like those two things just seem like they would never go together. Like why? Why would they ever go together? Like the whole like adrenochrome thing, is that it? That they're fucking
No, because they control media. If they control the movies and Disney movies and all of these things.
What does that have to do with fucking kids though?
Because then kids growing up want to be the Spider-Man. They want to be Thor. They want to be the Disney princess. They want to be Elsa off of Frozen. They want to be
you can have that without having sex with them, though. Like,
but then they go to Hollywood at 14 years old, and they tell them that they have to do it to get a fucking job.
So they created Hollywood. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
They took over Hollywood.
No,
they didn't create Hollywood for the purpose of it. They took Hollywood over for the purpose of it. But that's for the next episode. Can we please get back to male suicide? I love you, Stab, but fuck you for taking us down that road. Jesus.
You brought it up.
Bro, see, he's ready.
Because you brought up Robin Williams, and we were going to talk.
I brought up Robin
Williams.
Or Marcus brought up Robin Williams. But
I brought up Kurt Cobain, and you guys just went crazy.
It was a horrible example.
Anyways,
it's
a great example. He's a man that killed himself.
Dylan, how much time do we got left?
Allegedly killed himself. It's a good chance.
However long we go. All right. Well, before we end this, I got something I want to talk about, like a final piece to this topic. But let's do it. Going then.
You're the guest.
Are we ready to end it now? Okay.
End it off for us. Give us off.
Well, now otherwise they'll be wondering what you're gonna say the whole time.
All right. Well, then they're gonna stick around till the end. Let's go for another 2 hours. All right. All right. Well, if you guys are ready to end this, then I'll get on to that. But if you aren't ready to end it,
let's talk about the last thing. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do the last point.
All right. So I've been looking to start a men's group lately, like a men's support group. And we're all located in Niagara Falls, yes, or in like the Niagara location
area. Yeah, not in the falls, but close enough.
Okay. So any of your viewers, you guys can find me on Facebook. Jon Stewart, JONSTEWART. Send me a friend request, send me a message. If you guys are interested in joining and helping me out, let me know. Because as we've been talking about for most of this episode, men need more support, and we don't have it, and we don't have places that we can cry. So let's cultivate a place for men where we can be men, and we can get away, and we can blow off steam, and we can break down if we need to. Right? Let's be the old men naked in the sauna, not worrying about whose fucking cock looks like what. All right? Let's show it all bare, man. Show it all bare. Show your fucking heart to your brothers. Do they not deserve to know who the fuck you are in your darkest? I think they do. Fucking Dylan.
There's a status right there. Where my heart and my cock?
Oh,
there it is.
But so
same, bro. Yeah. Okay, go on.
But what do you guys think? Are you guys interested
I think that's a great idea. I think people do need support systems, and I think even meeting strangers who are dealing with the same thing, I think is super important for people who are dealing with, if it's mental health, if it is physical pain, if whatever the case may be. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I like, for example, like if you're dealing with physical pain, like enduring physical pain, like there's got to be something we can do. And if you have more people, more suggestions, more of these ideas, I think those people can get help as well.
And you want to know what? A lot of those people, maybe they can't afford to go to a chiropractor, or they can't afford the physical therapy, or whatever it is. I mean, we live in Canada, so a lot of that it does get covered, but there's still things that don't get covered that you can't get because of a financial wall. We can come together as a group, right? If we got like fucking 50 dudes together and we all throw $20 in a thing, we're good. Oh fuck, my phone just died.
Oh shit. Damn.
All right, well, I guess we'll cut that there then, boys.
Well, before we go, I just want to say I'm a selfish cunt. So if you are thinking of killing yourself, please don't message me, because I'm not gonna waste my time talking to you.
Sab.
I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Sab. Holy.
I never know what to say. You know what I mean?
This one, you were like, this is one of those times you should have been like, I'm done I'm over this. I'm going for a smoke. This guy's like, yeah, don't fucking call me if you're fucking upset. Your life sucks shitty on you.
Yeah. That's why Weber's my best friend. He's never once told me he's sad. He's never been like, bro, I'm really sad right now.
Bro, I'm too busy to be sad.
Exactly. I love it.
And if I'm sad, I'll just tell you it in a rhyme or something.
Yeah. I'll be like, dope, bro.
Yo,
yeah.
Assholes with opinions. I am Big Dubbz. Dylan Weber. Sab Powers. Marcus Merks. I gotta change his Twitter handle when I put it back up.
4 episodes deep, still Merks.
Yeah.
Our boy Jon Stewart unfortunately got disconnected. That was a great podcast. I love you guys. Check out
Love you too, buddy.
Magic. Check out Sab's. All the links down below.
Check out Green Tree Records.
Peace.
Peace.